Commander Willa Hart stood on the bridge of the colony ship Artemis as the distress signal crackled through the speakers. The signal was weak and filled with static, but it carried one clear word: help. The crew exchanged anxious glances. Navigator Jake Mora leaned over his console and traced the signal's origin to an uncharted system beyond the outer rim. The stars outside the viewport shone cold and distant, as if warning them to stay away. Willa tapped her comm badge. Set course, she ordered. We answer every call for help. As the engines roared to life, the Artemis slid through space, leaving familiar charts behind. The crew worked in quiet tension. Each officer knew that distress signals could be traps, yet no one questioned the order. Engineer Maya Lin checked power levels while Communications Officer Arik Vess monitored the signal's strength. The message repeated every few minutes, an echo of fear. Willa remembered the oath she had taken: protect life wherever it may be. The choice was simple. Hours later, the ship dropped out of hyperspace into the system. Sparse asteroid fields drifted across blackness. Scanners revealed a broken station orbiting a dead planet. Its hull was pocked with damage, and lights blinked erratically like a dying heartbeat. The station's design was alien, no registry in the galactic database matched its form. Willa frowned. She had never seen anything like it. The distress signal pulsed again, now almost pleading. A chill ran down her spine. We have no life signs on the station, reported Science Officer Ryan Voss. But I detect trace by in Sector 4. His voice was steady, but his eyes betrayed him. Willa nodded. Send an away team, she replied. Dr. Cho, Sergeant Aya, and 2 Marines. Take full gear. We don't know what awaits. Dr. Lena Cho, the ship's xenobiologist, clipped a scanner to her belt. Sergeant Thomas Aya checked his rifle. The team boarded an outboard shuttle, the hatch sealing them inside. Minutes later, the shuttle docked with the station's airlock. Inside, the corridors were dark and silent. The only sound was the echo of boots on metal grating. Emergency. Lights flickered, casting long shadows. Panels hung open, wires sparking. Strange stains on the floor suggested long-gone life, but no bodies remained. The air tasted stale, filtered by failing systems. Lena scanned for toxins. Jake's voice crackled in their ears. Bridge to away team, proceed with caution. The team reached the station's control hub. Holographic projectors hummed, showing half data streams. Lena pressed her scanner against a console. Something locked this door from inside, she murmured, pointing to a sealed lab. The symbol on the door was unlike any she had seen, a swirling spiral with jagged edges. This symbol might be a warning. Sergeant Aya braced the door. With a prying tool, it gave way with a groan. They entered. Inside the lab, broken test tubes littered the floor. Computer screens displayed diagrams of living tissue and alien anatomy. A central chamber stood empty, its glass walls cracked. The team advanced carefully. Ryan bent to pick up a data slate. At that moment, the chamber's broken door shifted. A shape moved within, dark, shifting, alive. A low hiss echoed, and the lights flickered. The creature was gone before they could see it, but its presence filled the air like a threat. We need to go, Sergeant Aya said, his voice tight. Lena grabbed the data slate and tucked it into her pack. The team backed toward the airlock, weapons raised. At the corridor's end, a figure blocked their path. It was not human. Its limbs were too many, too long, and its skin glistened. Its eyes reflected the dim light, unblinking. A moment passed, silence hanging between them. Then the creature darted forward, its movement a blur. The Marines opened fire. Blaster bolts struck the creature, but it dodged and twisted. It emitted a shriek that rattled the team's nerves. Willa's voice came through the comm. Away team, return to shuttle. Hearts pounding, they sprinted down the hall. The creature pursued, its shape contorting to fit through narrow doorways. The team dove into the shuttle and slammed the hatch. Alarms shrieked as the station's doors sealed back on Artemis. Willa waited at the hatch. The shuttle landed with a jolt. The doors opened, and the team spilled out, shaken and wounded but alive. Lena held up the data slate. We have what we came for, she said. Willa's relief was tempered by concern. Prepare the lab, she ordered, and lock this station out of our system. No one else will stumble into that horror as a The shuttle detached. The station slipped into darkness, its secret left behind. Willa turned to her crew. We will learn what happened here, she said quietly, and we will stop it. The Artemis set a new course back toward the lab, carrying the spark of hope and the weight of unknown terror into the silent reaches of space. The lab, aboard the Artemis, buzzed with quiet activity as Dr. Lena Cho and Science Officer Ryan Voss began their analysis. The data slate they retrieved from the station glowed on a secure console. Around them, the lab's sterile walls felt oddly comforting after the darkness of the abandoned station. Lena scanned the slate's code with her handheld reader. "It's a log of genetic experiments," she said, her voice calm. "They studied an alien parasite that infects the nervous system." Ryan frowned. "That must be what attacked our away team." He tapped the screen. "They tried to weaponize it." Down the corridor, engineer Maya Lin adjusted power settings for the lab's containment unit. Safety protocols had been upgraded since the last incident, but she still double-checked every seal. "We can't let anything escape," she muttered. In the corner, virologist Dr. Eric Vess prepped vials of antiviral compounds. His eyes were determined. "We'll need a countermeasure if we face that creature again," he said. Around them, the hum of machinery contrasted with the distant pulse of the colony ship's engines. Captain Willa Hart stood beside a viewport, watching stars drift by. She held a datapad seeded with briefings from command. The logs described an alien research outpost that disappeared months ago. Rumors suggested the station's crew had gone missing one by one. Then, the parasite had taken control. Willa tapped her report, she said. Lena's voice crackled back. "We have the station data," she replied. "We're synthesizing an antiviral based on its weakest enzyme." Willa nodded. "Good. Continue work. I want results before we return." Hours passed in focused silence. Under bright lamps, Lena and Arik mixed compounds and tested them against simulated parasite DNA. Bright screens displayed charts of enzyme reactions. Ryan watched the graphs climb and fall, learning the parasite's vulnerabilities. "We have a lead," Lena announced. "This compound could block the parasite's neural receptors," Arik added. "Once delivered, it should disable the creature's control over its hosts." Maya joined them. "I'll rig the delivery system," she said. "We can inject it into the station through docking ports." Willa gathered her senior officers in the briefing room. The table's holodisplay showed a schematic of the alien station. "We learned the parasite grows by infecting multiple hosts," she began. "It can bypass barriers and adapt quickly. Our antiviral might slow it, but we need to strike hard." Ryan nodded. "We should target its incubation chambers," he said. "If we collapse them, we disrupt its life cycle." Sergeant Thomas Ayer leaned forward. "We'll need a full Marine squad," he said. "They can secure the station while we deploy the antiviral." Willa agreed. "Prepare teams. We launch in 2 hours." As preparations began, navigator Jake Mora plotted the course back to the station. The debris field looked more menacing. Now that they knew its origin, jagged wreckage floated in orbit, like trophies of past experiments gone wrong. Jake shook his head. "I never thought I'd see this," he said softly. "But we have a job to do." Maya checked the shuttle's loading bay. Crates of antiviral sprayers and containment gear filled the hold. Aria, a Marine medic, loaded her medkit with trauma injectors. The countdown reached 15 minutes. Willa walked the corridors, speaking with each team member. She found Lena calibrating scanners. "Trust your work," she said. Lena offered a tired smile. "We'll give you the best weapon we have." Willa stopped by Arik. "Stay safe," she told him. He nodded firmly. "I plan to," he said. As Willa returned to the bridge, she felt a weight of responsibility settle on her shoulders. She looked at the crew working in unison and felt pride. They would face fear once more. The away teams boarded 2 armed shuttles. The first, led by Sergeant Ayer, carried Marines and engineers. The second held Lena, Arik, and Ryan, along with medical personnel. Willa stood by the airlock until the doors sealed. Through the porthole, she watched the shuttles detach. Her voice echoed in their calm. "Remember, our goal is to contain and eliminate the parasite. Return safely." The shuttles glowed briefly, before slipping into the station's orbit. Inside the station's docking bay, alarms blared as the shuttles attached. Red lights pulsed, and vents hissed. The floors were slick with old fluids, and cables hung like vines. Marines fanned out, weapons ready. Thomas led his squad through the bay and into a central hall. Ricocheting blaster fire rang out as mutated host creatures lunged from shadows. The Marines held formation, driving the creatures back with disciplined volleys. Meanwhile, Lena and Arik moved down a side corridor toward the incubation sector. Ryan guarded their rear. Walls were lined with transparent pods, many shattered and empty. Inside one intact pod, a creature lay coiled, its skin pale and veined. Lena set up a sprayer and aimed at the pod's hatch. Arik activated the antiviral. A fine mist filled the chamber, and the creature writhed, its body convulsing. After tense moments, it lay still. Lena exhaled. It works, she whispered. Through the station, Thomas's squad secured control rooms and restored power to critical systems. They activated bulkhead locks to trap waves of mutated hosts. Arya treated wounded Marines, her calm words steadying their nerves. Outside, Jake guided them through the station's maze on their come-left corridor. 50 meters, he instructed. Bulkhead door up ahead. Thomas acknowledged and pressed on, determined faces leading the way. The station's core lay ahead, a cavernous chamber filled with pulsating growths of organic webbing. Vines of flesh connected to broken consoles. Thomas signaled a halt. Willa's voice came through. Authorized deployment, Lena replied. Ready when you are. A heavy silence filled the channel. Then Willa said, do it. Arik activated the final spray, sending antiviral clouds through vents. The growths trembled, then disintegrated like ash. The hall went silent. As the last echoes faded, Lena checked her scanner. No signs of parasite activity. The station's lights flickered back to life. Screens displayed normal atmospheric readings. Marines exhaled in relief. Thomas radioed, all clear here. Lena replied, we've contained the threat. Ryan gathered samples. We have proof, he said. Let's go home. Down the hall, the away teams headed back to their shuttles, weary but victorious. Back aboard the Artemis, Willa awaited their return. The shuttles docked smoothly, and the teams disembarked. Lena carried the data slate, and Thomas's Marines marched tall. Willa greeted each member, pride shining in her eyes. The ship felt brighter, as if burdened weight had lifted. Lena approached. We stopped it, she said softly. Willa nodded. We did. But we must warn the galaxy. No one else can face that horror unprepared. Lena agreed. We have a story to tell. Willa looked outward at the stars, and a duty to protect them. The Artemis glided through space with a sense of purpose. Captain Willahart stood on the bridge, watching the stars drift by. The lab's reports lay open on her console. Dr. Lena Cho and Ryan Voss had analyzed the parasite's biology. They discovered it came from a distant world, once thought lifeless. The creature's DNA matched samples from ancient probes. Willa felt a chill. If the parasite could survive so long, it might exist elsewhere. She tapped her cum badge. Prepare a full crew briefing, she said. We need to share these findings with the fleet. In the lab, Lena and Arik reviewed the data again. The console glowed with genetic codes and enzyme maps. Lena pointed at a diagram. This strain survived in cold vacuums, she said. It can adapt to extreme conditions, Arik added, and it can lie dormant inside hosts for months. The two scientists exchanged worried looks. If the parasite reached a populated world, it could spread without warning. Lena laid a hand on Arik's shoulder. We stopped it here, she said softly, but we must learn how to detect it in time. Meanwhile, Sergeant Thomas Ayer oversaw drills in the Marines' training bay. Recruits practiced clearing tight corridors and wearing protective suits. Each Marine moved with precision, running through simulated attacks by parasite hosts. Thomas watched their progress and offered tips. Keep your breathing steady, he instructed. The worst enemy is panic. The Marines nodded, sweat on their brows, but determination in their eyes. Thomas knew they needed this practice. The parasite's surprise strike had cost lives. He would not let that happen again. On the mess deck, engineer Maya Lin and navigator Jake Mora shared a quiet moment. Plates of steaming food sat before them, untouched. Jake stared at the viewport, where a distant nebula glowed faintly. I can't believe how close we came, he said. Maya nodded, twirling a spoon. We did what we had to, she replied. But what if there are more out there? Jake sighed. We can't know everything, he said. We just do our best. Maya managed a small smile. And we have each other, she said. Jake reached across the table and gave her hand a light squeeze. That evening, Willa called the senior staff to the briefing room. The holodisplay showed the parasite's life cycle and the station's schematic. Each face in the room was tense. Willa spoke clearly. We have contained the threat on that station, she began, but the parasite's origin world may still harbor more. We have a duty to find it before it spreads. Ryan stepped forward. Our scans detected genetic signatures in nearby systems, he said. We can track potential sites. Lena added, we should send out probe drones fitted with our antiviral agent. They can sample atmospheres and report any signs. Willa nodded. Do it, she ordered, an alert command. We may need reinforcements. While the crew worked on probe design, the Artemis drifted toward the coordinates where the first signal had originated. Outside the ship, a cluster of small moons circled a gas giant. Probe drones were launched one by one, their tiny engines humming as they darted into the void. Each drone carried sensors, cameras, and sprayers filled with the antiviral compound. Inside a control room, Ryan and Lena monitored their progress. Screens displayed live feeds of craggy moon surfaces and silent wrecks. Lena held her breath. As a drone passed over a ruined outpost, suddenly, its sensors picked up movement. The drone's camera zoomed in on a collapsed structure half buried in ash. A dark shape moved across the floor. The feed crackled. Lena's heart pounded. "That could be host remains," she whispered. Arik replied, "or new activity." Ryan activated the drone's sprayer. A fine mist spread across the ground. The shape froze, then convulsed. After tense moments, it lay still. Lena exhaled. "It works on the surface too," she said. Ryan nodded. "We have a tool." They sent more drones to the other moons. Each one found signs of the parasite's work. Tunnels of webbing, broken pods, empty chambers. But the antiviral subdued the threat every time. Back on the bridge, Jake hovered over his nav console. "Command is responding," he said. A message appeared with a new mission directive. The Galactic Fleet would send survey ships to help. Reinforcements were on the way. Willa allowed herself a rare smile. They would not face this threat alone. She tapped her cum. "Thank you," she said. "We'll secure our sector and await your fleet." As the message ended, Willa looked at her crew. "We've made a start," she said. "But the galaxy is bigger than any one ship. We must warn every world we can reach." Later, the crew gathered on the observation deck. The nebula blazed in shades of purple and gold. Lena placed a hand on the railing. "We saved lives today," she said quietly. Sergeant Aya stood beside her. "And we will save more," he replied. Willa joined them. "Our story will be a warning," she said softly. "We are the ones who heard the distress call and answered. We will protect the galaxy from what arrived." Beneath the stars, they stood together, united in purpose and ready for what lay ahead. The colony ship Artemis floated among the stars, carrying its crew toward the parasite's home system. Captain Willa Hart stood on the bridge, studying the star charts. The fleet reinforcements had not yet arrived, but Artemis pressed onward. Willa tapped her cum. "Maintain standard speed," she ordered. "Alert me to any anomalies." Navigator Jake Mora adjusted the course toward the outer planets of the gas giant system. Each world had shown signs of infection, but the planet at the system's edge held the strongest readings. Below decks, Dr. Lena Cho and Science Officer Ryan Voss prepared the lab's mobile analysis unit. They loaded additional antiviral compound and calibration probes. Lena reviewed the drone footage again. The parasite's webbing spread through rock fissures and abandoned tunnels, evidence of its tenacity. She felt a mix of determination and apprehension. "We must understand its origin," she told Ryan. "Only then can we prevent it from spreading further." Ryan nodded, tightening his lab coat. "We'll have answers, Captain," he promised over the cum dot in the Marines' quarters. Sergeant Thomas Aya oversaw final gear checks. His squad packed protective suits and experimental scanners designed to detect dormant parasite spores. Each Marine inspected their weapon and armor, their faces set in resolve. Private Atarin, the newest recruit, admitted a tremor in his voice. "I've never faced anything like that," he said. Thomas placed a firm hand on the recruit's shoulder. "Courage is not the absence of fear," he said quietly. "It's acting despite it." Atarin met his gaze and squared his shoulders. As Artemis approached the infected planet, alarms chimed softly. Jake called out, "Atmospheric readings are toxic. Surface pressure is high. I recommend orbital deployment." Willa agreed. "Prepare the drop shuttles," she said. "We'll send a small team down first." Lena, Ryan, Thomas, and a squad of Marines gathered in the loading bay. The shuttle bay doors opened to reveal a swirling orange sky. Lightning flickered across distant clouds. The planet's surface was a shattered landscape of jagged rock spires and deep CHSMS. The shuttle descended smoothly through the thick atmosphere. Inside, every passenger held onto a handrail as the ship buffeted in turbulent winds. Lena peered through the viewport at a vast canyon network below. The canyon walls glowed with bioluminescent stain signs of the parasite's presence. Ryan tapped his scanner's screen. "High spore density ahead," he said. Thomas checked his squad. "Stay sharp," he said. "Move fast. Stay together." The shuttle landed on a narrow plateau overlooking a ruined outpost. Broken towers and decollapsed domes lay half buried in red dust. A wind kicked up, swirling the spores into the air. Lena donned her mask and activated her scanner. "We need to find the central hive," she said. The main colony center, and Thomas led the way down a rocky path. Each step crunched on sharp stones. The sky roared with distant thunder. As they neared the outpost's core, they found a wide chasm filled with tangled webbing. The web glowed faintly in the dim light. Private Atarin swallowed hard. That looks alive, he whispered. Lena knelt at the edge, running her scanner over the material. It's organic, she confirmed. Massive fungal network fused with alien tissue. Ryan added, it spans kilometers. This is the parasite's true domain. Willa's voice crackled in their report. Lena replied, we've located the hive nexus. It's vast. Thomas peered into the depths. We need to collapse it, he said. But we can't just blow it up. Spores will spread. Lena nodded. We'll inject the antiviral through the vents below, she said. We need to find the main vent shaft. The team spread out, moving carefully along a narrow ledge. Spores drifted in the wind, but their suits held firm. Ryan placed sensor beacons as they advanced, mapping the web structure. After tense minutes, the lead scientist found a large vent embedded in the canyon wall. Its grill was broken and warped. Lena pulled out a hose from her kit and connected it to a portable sprayer. This will push the antiviral deep into the network, she explained. Thomas stood guard as Ryan powered the device. A hiss filled the air as pale mist poured into the vent. Suddenly, a tremor shook the ground. The webbing quivered, then pulsed with movement. From the depths, a massive form emerged. The parasite's heart node, a shifting mass of tendrils and eyes. It oozed forward, its bulk defying gravity. Marines opened fire, their bolts striking the creature's flesh. It howled, a sound that rattled their helmets. Lena shouted over the noise, keep spraying. The antiviral mist enveloped the node. Its movements slowed, then stuttered. The creature recoiled, its tendrils dissolving under the chemical assault. Thomas barked orders, focus fire on its core. Private Atarin steadied his rifle and fired. Each bolt found its mark in the node's writhing mass. At last, the creature collapsed, its body melting into the ground. Silence returned, broken only by the wind. Lena checked her scanner. No active spores detected. Ryan sighed with relief. We did it, he said. Thomas surveyed the area. The hive nexus is dead. Lena exhaled deeply. We've stopped this outbreak at its source. Willa's voice came through calm and proud. Return to Artemis. We have what we need. The shuttle lifted off as the planet's sky darkened. With storm clouds on board, the team removed their masks and looked at each other. Lena placed a hand on Ryan's arm. We have a chance now, she said. Thomas nodded. We made the difference. Back on Artemis, Willa awaited their debrief. She saw hope in their eyes. They had faced the parasite at its heart and won. Now, the galaxy would be safer because they dared to answer the call. The Artemis drifted in orbit, above the storm-tossed planet as the shuttle touched down. Captain Willa Hart waited at the airlock, her arms crossed and a calm determination on her face. Dr. Lena Cho, Science Officer Ryan Voss, and Sergeant Thomas Ayer stepped out, their suits streaked with dust and residue from the hive nexus. Lena carried a sample container filled with glowing spores, neutralized by the antiviral. Ryan held a datapad with readings from the vents. Thomas's Marines followed, their rifles slung but ready. Willa spoke softly, her voice firm. Report. Lena set the container on a secure table in the lab and wiped her brow. The antiviral worked at the core, she said. The hive nexus has collapsed, and no active spores remain in that sector, Ryan added. Our scans show no signs of regeneration. The vents are clear. Thomas nodded. We lost 2 Marines to spore exposure, but the squad held the line. Willa's eyes reflected pride and grief. Their sacrifice saved us all, she said. The lab team lowered their heads in respect. After a moment, Lena opened the sample container under a biosafety hood. She injected a small neutralizing agent as a precaution, then drew a microscope slide. Under the lens, the spores lay inert, broken apart by the compound. Lena tapped the glass. These are the last active cells, she said. We can study them safely now. Ryan began uploading the readings to the ship's mainframe. Map the spore structure and share it with command, he said. With this data, other ships can test their worlds before we arrive. Meanwhile, in the mess deck, engineer Maya Lin and navigator Jake Mora prepared a simple meal for the returning team. Sandwiches and hot brew waited on a table. Jake placed cups of steaming drink before them. Lena accepted a cup and blew on the surface. Thank you, she said. Thomas sat beside her, peeling back the wrapper of his sandwich. Today was hard, he admitted. Lena nodded. It always is, she replied. But we did what no one else could, Jake added, and now the galaxy has a fighting chance. Later that day, the crew gathered in the briefing room. The holo display showed a map of infected worlds and safe zones. Command had sent new orders, surveyed each sector where the parasite might lurk. The Artemis would lead a task force of reconnaissance. Ship's Willa faced her senior officers. We have the tools and the knowledge, she said. Our next mission is to secure these systems and rescue any survivors. Ryan pointed to a red dot on the map. This moon cluster still shows faint readings, he said. We should send drones first. Willa agreed. Prepare the drones. Lena, you oversee the mission. Lena saluted. I'll deploy immediately. As the team dispersed, Private Atrin approached Captain Hart. His uniform was clean now, and his face less haunted. Captain, I want to volunteer, he said quietly. I want to be on the survey team. Willa regarded him thoughtfully. You've proven yourself, she said. Atrin blinked in surprise. Thank you, ma'am. Willa placed a hand on his shoulder. But you'll need more training first, he nodded. I'm ready. Willa smiled gently. We'll make it happen. In the lab, Lena and Ryan worked late into the ship's night cycle. They programmed drones with updated antiviral sprayers and data logging sensors. Ryan adjusted flight parameters. These drones will land, scan for spores, then release a fine mist, he explained. Lena watched the code. And if we find any active nests, we'll have immediate containment. They activated the first drone. Its engines hummed, then it shot through the hangar bay's open doors and vanished into space. On the bridge. Jake tracked the drone's signal as it neared a small moon. We have a positive reading, he announced. The image flickered on the main screen, a rocky surface with cavities filled by pale webbing. Lena's voice crackled over "Come, activate sprayer." The drone's nozzle extended, spraying a ghostly mist over the web. Moments later, the web collapsed into dust. Lena exhaled. Confirmed, she said. No live spores remain. The bridge crew cheered quietly. Throughout the next hours, the drones visited each dot on the map. Artemis's crew monitored in shifts, sending data to command. Survivors on one world sent grateful messages, reporting safe zones and returning population counts. In one remote settlement, a village sheltered inside a cavern. The villagers had sealed the entrance when the parasite first appeared. They emerged to find the web gone. Tears and laughter greeted the drone's arrival. As the first light of the ship's morning cycle glowed. Willa stood on the observation deck with Lena and Thomas. The stars outside were bright and calm. Lena leaned on the railing. We did more than survive, she said. We gave hope. Thomas added, and we saved lives. Willa watched the distant glimmer of a fleet vessel approaching. The fleet is here, she said. And soon the galaxy will know this story. Lena smiled. A story that began with a distress call, she said. And ended with a promise. We will protect life, no matter what arrives. Beneath the endless stars, they stood together ready for the challenges ahead. From the bridge as supply barges and medical frigates docked. Her crew moved with purpose, unloading crates of antiviral agents, medical supplies, and fresh food. Survivors from the infected worlds crowded the hangar bays, wrapped in blankets and guided to aid stations. The fleet admiral's flagship, the Intrepid, sent a message. We are ready to assist. Your lead, Captain, Willa replied. Thank you. We will share all data and coordinate efforts. Below decks, Dr. Lena Cho and Science Officer Ryan Voss prepared a field lab for rapid testing. They set up workstations with microscopes and containment units. Volunteers from the fleet staffed the benches, learning to identify parasite spores under Lena's careful guidance. Ryan displayed sample slides on holoscreens. Look for these patterns, he instructed. Broken cell walls and irregular veining. The trainees nodded, eyes focused. Lena added, our antiviral works on most strains, but the parasite mutates. You must be vigilant. In the shuttle bay, Sergeant Thomas Ayer led a team of Marines through a debriefing. Their mission was to guard supply lines and protect survey drones. Private Atrin, now more confident, examined new weapons. Sprayer rifles loaded with antiviral foam. Keep your aim steady, Thomas advised. One shot can neutralize a nest. The Marines practiced on abandoned containers filled with simulated spores. The foam hissed and spread, covering the mock webbing until it dissolved. Thomas nodded in approval. Good, we're ready. Navigator Jake Mora monitored communications between distant survey vessels. Reports streamed in, moon colonies cleared, refugee camps established, dormant nests suppressed. Jake charted safe corridors through the infected sector. Willa joined him. How soon until we secure the last cluster? She asked. Jake studied his display. With fleet support, 2 days, he said. But we have a new reading from a civilian transport 5 sectors out. Willa frowned. What kind of reading? Jake pointed. Spore signature on their hull. They asked for help. Minutes later, Willa convened her officers in the briefing room. Holo projections showed the civilian transport, the Hopes, Promise, carrying refugees. Its captain reported seeing strange growths near the engine room. Lena spoke first. We must board and contain immediately. Spores spread fast in closed spaces. Thomas added, I'll lead a marine squad. We can secure the hold. Ryan proposed carrying sprayer rifles and portable scanners. Willa nodded. Launch the shuttle now. I'll join you. The boarding shuttle descended to the Hope's Promise under escort. Willa, Lena, Thomas, Ryan, and 4 Marines stood ready. The airlock cycled open with a hiss. Inside, the ship smelled of recycled air and nervous tension. Refugees huddled in corridors, watched by worried crew. Thomas motioned for calm. Stay back, he said gently. We're here to help. Lena knelt by the door to the engine room. Spore density is high beyond this door, she warned. They entered the engine room to find oily vents wrapped in pale webbing. The parasite had nested in the heat exchanger. A soft hiss echoed as spores drifted in the air. Ryan unfurled a sprayer rifle and aimed at the webbing. Foam shot out in a fine mist, coating the organic strands. The web dissolved into dust, and the vents clanked free. Lena scanned again. We need to treat the entire system, she said. Follow me to the service tunnels. The team moved through narrow crawlways under the deck. Vents and pipes twisted. Overhead spores fell like rain when disturbed. Each Marine sprayed foam as they passed. Willa held the tail guard, her pistol ready. Suddenly, a tremor shook the floor. A hive chamber had collapsed, releasing a cloud of spores. Marines froze, coughs erupting. Lena shouted, activate masks. They snapped on respirators and continued spraying until the air cleared. Back in the engine room, Ryan accessed the ship's controls. I'll vent the treated air outside, he said. He pressed a sequence of commands, and vents reversed flow. Foam-laden air hissed out into space. Thomas secured the perimeter. We've removed the nests, he reported. Lena ran a final scan. No active spores remain, she confirmed. Refugees peered from corridors, relief on their faces. Willa addressed the ship's crew. We're sealing your systems and will escort you to the nearest safe port. Cheers echoed softly. Once the Hope's Promise was clear, the Artemis shuttle lifted off. Willa thanked her team. Your courage saved those people, she said. Thomas shrugged. We're just doing our duty, Lena smiled. And learning more every day, Ryan nodded. Let's return and share what we found. Back aboard the Artemis, Willa updated Fleet Command. The freighter was safe and all known nests suppressed. Command praised their work and offered additional resources. Willa turned to her crew. We have made a real difference, she said. But this mission continues until every world is safe, Lena added, and we will be ready for whatever comes. Under the pale glow of distant stars, the Artemis sailed undetermined to protect life across the galaxy, one world at a time. The Artemis drifted through calm space as the last survey drones returned. Captain Willa Hart stood on the bridge, her gaze fixed on the data uplink from Fleet Command. The map showed cleared worlds glowing green, safe corridors marked in blue. Only one small sector remained unverified. Willa turned to her officers. We complete our mission today, she said. Then we head home. Around her, crew members exchanged relieved smiles. In the lab, Dr. Lena Cho packed away her instruments. The workstations were neat again, free of the glowing samples and sprayers. Science Officer Ryan Voss approached. We made a difference, he said quietly. Lena nodded. We learned so much about that parasite, she replied, and we shared the knowledge with every ship. She stored the final sample drawer under locked containment. This work will help others, she said. Ryan placed a hand on her shoulder. Your research saved lives, he said. Lena offered a tired smile and returned to the bridge. Sergeant Thomas Ayer oversaw the Marines as they checked their gear. For the last time, Private Acheron, now steady in his steps, inspected his sprayer, rifle and armor. He looked to his sergeant. Ready for home, he asked. Thomas gripped his shoulder. Always ready, he said. The Marines lined up in formation, their faces proud but weary. They had faced horrors few could imagine. Now they stood as guardians of peace. Navigator Jake Mora ran final jump coordinates. He tapped the display. calculating fuel reserves and jump windows. We have enough for one last jump, he reported. Engineer Maya Lin checked engine cycles and reactor outputs. All systems green, she said. We could return in 2 days. Willa nodded. Set course for home base, she ordered. Jake engaged the jump drive sequence, and the stars blurred beyond the viewport. During the jump, the crew took a moment to reflect. In the mess deck, Lena and Ryan shared a light meal. Their conversation was gentle. I miss the quiet here, Lena said, pointing to the stars. Ryan laughed softly. Quiet is good, he agreed. But I also miss the lab's bustle. They ate in companionable silence, thinking of the lives they saved and the ones they honored. On the bridge, Willa reviewed the crew roster. She marked each member with commendations for bravery and service. Arik Vess, the communications officer, coordinated messages of thanks from governors and settlers. Refugees on safe worlds sent letters of gratitude. Each one spoke of hope returned. Willa placed a star next to Arik's name. We could not have done this without clear comms, she said. Arik looked up, humbled. I just did my part, he replied. As Artemis dropped out of hyperspace, home base grew on the view screen. The silver hull of the space station glinted. Under artificial lights, supply ships and transports moved in orderly lanes. The station's docking arm extended to greet them. Willa felt a swell of pride. They had faced fearsome darkness and emerged victorious. She tapped her cum. Docking request granted, came the reply. The ship glided into the channel. Marines stood ready at the airlock as the shuttles docked. Willa, Lena, Thomas, and the senior crew stepped onto the station's docking ring. A cheering crowd of officers, family, and friends greeted them. Banners proclaimed welcome home, heroes. Willa stepped forward, her uniform crisp. She saluted the station commander. We report mission complete, she said. The commander returned the salute. You saved our people and many others, he said. Your name will be remembered. Willa nodded. We served with honor, she said. In the station's grand hall, a ceremony was held. Lena received the scientific medal for discovery and courage. Ryan accepted the Fleet Science Service Award. Thomas and his Marines stood proud as they were honored for valor. A Terran, once a trembling recruit, received a promotion to corporal. He stood tall as smiles lit his face. Willa spoke last. She addressed the gathered crowd in clear, steady tones. We answered a distress call, she said. We faced a hidden threat and we prevailed. This victory belongs to every hand that worked, every mind that planned, and every heart that believed. May we continue to protect life across the galaxy. Applause filled the hall. After the ceremony, the crew mingled with visitors. Lena and Ryan discussed future research plans with Academy scholars. Thomas and his squad shared stories with other Marines, comparing tactics and lessons learned. Atran found his mentor, a veteran sergeant, who praised his growth. Jake and Maya spoke with station engineers about new jump drive tests. The station buzzed with hope and optimism. Later, Willa walked the station's observation deck. She looked out at the swirl of ships and the distant glow of nearby worlds. Beside her stood Lena. We did it, Lena said softly. Willa nodded. We saved lives, she replied. And we showed that courage and science together can overcome any darkness. Lena rested a hand on the railing. What comes next? She asked. Willa smiled. We remain vigilant, she said. But tonight, we celebrate. Tomorrow, new missions begin. They stood in silence, watching the stars, knowing they had made a difference. The galaxy would remember how a single crew answered a faint distress signal, and what they faced horrified many, but united them all. And as the Artemis prepared for its next journey, its crew carried with them the promise to protect life, wherever it may call for help.